I want to share what I've learned about growing a Pokemon channel from 0 to 10,000 subscribers. I want to go over some things that I think I did well, some things that I think maybe wasn't the best use of my time or wasn't productive, and I hope that through sharing this, I can help you with your content creation goals or in growing a YouTube channel or the management of a YouTube channel. I'm going to go first into like the 0 to 100 subscribers, then the 100 to 1,000, then the 1,000 to 10,000. But before we do any of that, we need to baseline this conversation because I think a lot of people get worked up. I think a lot of people, or maybe just myself, gets wrapped up in like the weeds of things, and we just need to understand like what we're doing or what the goal of like any YouTube channel is. As a content creator, your role is to post content which in return shares an experience or educates some viewer or audience in a way that, again, educates or entertains them. Whether you have 0 subscribers or 1 million, your message, execution, and experience that you package in your videos, it has to be good. From growing the channel from 0 to 100 wasn't that different than 100 to 1,000. Over time, I improved slowly through every video and iterated the things that did good and got rid of the things that did bad. But the ground foundation on what the content creation process is built upon is the same as it has been since I had 0 subscribers. I definitely want to just reiterate that point because it's important, and I think people skip that or forget about it. Moving into the Pokemon channel, this channel has about 13,000 subscribers right now, which is pretty awesome. But actually, this didn't really start off as a Pokemon channel. This started off as a Yu-Gi-Oh! Cyber Dragon channel because that's just what got clicks. So when I first started this channel, I said I was going to make Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Content. I was just going to do what I thought was awesome and fun. So I posted Pokemon content, and then I posted Yu-Gi-Oh! Content specifically about Cyber Dragons, which is an archetype or a deck. The first 100 subscribers wasn't that memorable, but I remember posting one of these Cyber Dragon videos and it getting a lot more views than I really thought it would, and it got a lot of engagement kind of right off from the start. I took that as a sign of there is either a lack of supply or a high demand or both for this type of content, because also I can see in the analytics that people were actually searching for it. So what I did was I started posting more Cyber Dragon content and just really fine-tuning, or I guess capitalizing on that niche. Now that also worked out for my personal preference because I love Yu-Gi-Oh! And Cyber Dragons, so it was so fun to talk about. So just to understand, for people who don't know how niche this is, like you have Yu-Gi-Oh! Which is, or you have like all the card games, then you have Yu-Gi-Oh! Which is a card game, and then you have maybe all the archetypes, but specifically we have Cyber Dragons, which isn't, it's like a rogue archetype, like it's not that, it's popular but not that popular, but there's like a fan base for it. And then I was posting specific videos for that archetype, which is pretty niche. And then to get even more niche, I was using the physical cards to kind of explain things in like a certain way, which was kind of even more like a little niche, but it was, again, how I presented the information. So I have 3 total channels over 1,000 actually 4 total channels over 1,000 subscribers, and they all have something in common, or at least the first 0 to 1,000 subscribers all have something in common. It is a super niche focus. Again, on something like very specific, even within like a sub niche of a niche. And to me, this has worked because one of the ways I found to differentiate myself from like other YouTubers is when somebody finds my channel or a channel that I have, the content on it is like, it's made for them. So again, when somebody found my Cyber Dragon videos, if they went to my channel, they'd see like 20 videos about Cyber Dragons. They'd be like, this guy's awesome. Like he posts specifically about this Cyber Dragon, or like specifically about Cyber Dragons. If I've had 20 videos about different archetypes, sure, there might be more people that would watch every individual video, but as for retaining viewership, I think being very niche about something separates you from other people, and it allows you to, or allows others to be more attached with you because you have this, again, like a very specific thing that they're searching for. And you might be thinking that if you niche down too hard, you'll never grow. But I've found that to be like the opposite. Sure, you're not going to get like a very viral video or a like maybe 1 million subscribers on like that specific topic, but it doesn't mean you have to dedicate the channel over its entire life to that content. There are ways of, I guess, expanding the audience while still being loyal to that niche that you kind of started with. But from 0 to 100 or even 0 to 1,000, I think that like a niching down to something so specific has been proven, at least to me, to be consistently repeatable. Obviously, this video is explaining how I grew a Pokemon channel, but I think what the also interesting thing is understanding that this wasn't even a Pokemon channel to begin with, so you can pivot channels and maybe overlap certain audiences with niches to kind of get to where you want to go as a content creator and your channels. As I was posting the Cyber Dragon Yu-Gi-Oh videos, I had some Pokemon content already like embedded in the channel. And again, the main goal of this channel was to post videos about things that I loved. And I loved Yu-Gi-Oh! And I love Pokemon. However, none of the Pokemon videos really took off. The Cyber Dragon videos were doing well, so I decided to, capitalize and be smart with the content creation and audience building and just focus on the Cyber Dragon. After like a year or 2 years, I don't really remember exactly, I was getting a little bored of the Cyber Dragon content, so I started posting more Pokemon content. And sure, a lot of that content didn't really get as many views as the Cyber Dragon stuff, but to me it didn't really matter because as a content creator I wanted to post things that I loved. So as I was posting more Pokemon content, a video that I posted like a year or 2 years ago just started taking off. Like, this is the most popular video on the channel. It almost has like 500,000 views. That one video brought in so many subscribers and like views to all the new videos that it like just started the channel. I think that video brought me in 1,700 subscribers, which is like almost 10% of the channel, like the size of the channel in subscribers. Like, that video was crazy. Like, that video for the first 300 days had 2,300 views, and then it proceeded to just scale all the way up to almost 500,000. And it's weird how YouTube works, because sometimes, I don't know the whole back end of YouTube, but I know it's smart. And it takes some time for YouTube to understand who your audience is and what your videos are about and who to push it to. But anyway, that one video really supported the channel in bringing in the new viewers, but also retaining them because I already had the content to back up what they already loved. Kind of just summarizing, 0 to 100, pretty much in my opinion, is the same as 0 to 1,000. You got to be niche, you got to be specific. When somebody clicks on your video or your channel, if you got a whole bunch of like a catalog of videos to a specific topic, it becomes, you separate yourself from the rest of YouTube because it's so specific for that individual. Yeah, like one thing I always think about too, or I've been thinking about, is I make, at least for my content, I make videos for one person. Or at least from the beginning, I didn't talk to the viewer or the audience like there was some grand audience. I just wanted to talk to somebody like they were a friend, and that like this video was made for them. And I think that YouTube is massive. There's so many people engaged in this platform. When you make a video for 1,000 people, sure, that video could become larger in a sense, but it doesn't separate you from the rest of YouTube. When you make a video specific to a person, they feel almost, or they can feel more connected to you. And I'm not saying to be manipulative or anything. I'm just saying that targeting a specific person for a video or a channel, you'd be surprised at how many people can actually be your target audience. Because again, the YouTube platform is very, I guess, diverse and huge. You need a sliver of that, and for that audience to find you to really build a really great audience and community. That kind of wraps up like the 0 to 1,000, but I want to drive a lot of these points home because they're critical. The first thing, you need to understand your niche and your sub niche and where you belong in it, and what do you have that's a little bit different that you can bring to the table to separate yourself from other people. And it doesn't have to be something major. Like, one of the things I think that separated my Pokemon channel from other people is how I presented the content and just how I talked about it. I mean, there are probably other things as well, but I think like having the like what I do is I point the camera at my game. A lot of people use like emulators and like other things to, like, I guess have better quality almost. But I wanted to capture that feeling like somebody's like sitting next to me kind of playing. Also, the content's presented in like a more calming manner, like kind of like this. It's not engaged, it's not all hypey, everything's flashing. I didn't want to target that type of viewer because I am not that viewer. I want to enjoy content like this, where it's just like a conversation and we're having like a relaxing time. So the content itself doesn't need to be that different, or doesn't need to be one of the variables you change, but something has to be different in how you separate yourself from other people. You need to give the people watching your videos something slightly different and make yourself a little bit more memorable, because if you don't do that, then there's no reason to watch you over somebody else. In your videos too, if you can't get somebody to click and watch your video for 15 seconds, then there is no reason to post any other aspect of your video. And that's one thing that I'm still learning to this day, and how to use my words to be persuasive to keep people engaged in that 15 seconds. Because a lot of my content is just like this. It's relaxed, not maybe relaxing, but it's chilled down. Content like this, you can't be all flashy and engaging in the first couple seconds, which has that extra, I guess, persuasiveness to continue watching the video. But no matter what video, how big your channel is, how small, if you can't get someone to click and watch for that amount of time, there's no reason to post like at all. So really focus on that. Again, that's something huge I learned, and maybe I probably should have noted a little bit more up front, but essentially that is like the marketing of the video itself. One thing I want to get into from 0 to 1,000 subscribers also is that the mixing of the content, and maybe this contradicts some things I said earlier, or maybe seems hypocritical, but it kind of supports the niching down that I discussed earlier. Again, it's always a lesson learned and things looking back, but it's in hindsight. Anyway, the Cyber Dragon content did really well and was doing well, again, from a small creator point of view. Like, it didn't get millions of views or dollars, but from my perspective, it was fun and successful to build an audience. When I started posting the Pokemon videos, I think it collided a little bit with the Cyber Dragon content, and there was obviously some overlap in viewers, but I think that I wish I probably just kept the Cyber Dragon channel, like a Cyber Dragon Yu-Gi-Oh channel, and then I had a separate Pokemon channel. Again, that kind of contradicts with why I started that YouTube channel, was to post things I enjoyed. But looking back from like a perspective on channel growth and community building, some viewers, because they let me know in the comments, became even like more loyal because they love Cyber Dragons and the Pokemon. However, I could only imagine that there's a decent amount of percentage of viewers who no longer watch the videos or was kind of annoyed with the content, like I guess overlap or like lack of Yu-Gi-Oh content. Once you have a channel built, it's a little bit easier to just say, hey, I like this hobby too, come check out this other channel. And I think keeping a channel niche down to something specific is just important for building that channel in itself. So looking back, I probably wouldn't have put the Pokemon videos on the Cyber Dragon channel, even though it was doing well. It just doesn't like support enough to justify. And I guess we can kind of moving into 1,000 to 10,000. Some of the content, like I wanted to post more things about things that I loved on this channel, not just Pokemon. So I posted Warhammer, I posted some lifting videos, even like YouTube advice, and some Magic the Gathering box openings. And these videos they just didn't do well. When I say don't do well, I mean it probably got 10 to 20% of the average viewership than all the other videos, the Pokemon videos got. It's hard to say specific data points, but when those videos released, the analytics for like the next couple days would always be lower than previously. And I can't say definitively, but I'm thinking that YouTube, my perspective on this is that YouTube says, hey, this dude posted another video. It didn't do that well. It wasn't like what the viewer or audience wanted. And they pushed not only that video less, but maybe other videos, even like other Pokemon videos, less to other people because the channel maybe appeared to be shifting. Again, a little bit speculative, but that was definitely a consistent trend I saw for at least 5 to like 8 videos. I think viewers go to a specific channel to feel a certain way or to learn something specific. And when you start putting different types of videos or content on your channel that is different than what people expect, it turns most people away. Some people, it's like, oh my gosh, this dude loves this and that. That's even crazy. Like I love that person even more. That's a lower percentage of people. And if we're talking about growing a channel and like maintaining a community or a specific audience, once you start throwing these other types of content, like it just, from my experience, it devalues the whole channel in itself. And again, it's hard to like show specific things for this, but it is absolutely something that I've noticed. And I've actually I privated a lot of these videos just because when people come to my channel, I want them to see that, all right, it's Pokemon. And again, kind of getting back to I made this channel for me. This channel is still about me, not just Pokemon, but also I want to enjoy, I guess, the success of the channel itself. And not that I can only do that with Pokemon, but I don't want to hinder the growth and success of the channel just by inputting things that I think are cool and fun. I can do that on a different channel if I wanted to do so, and then get people to move over if they want. 1,000 to 10,000. One thing that I was doing a lot was really engaging with the audience. Just from the analytics comment section community, I can tell that people really like the content. So one of the things that I did was post on the community tab because I wanted to hear people's feedback about certain things. Ultimately, I'm the content creator of this channel, but people watch the channel and their input is very important in understanding on what I should be doing. So I would post like what they kind of wanted to see, or maybe, just things like that. But also listening to the people, because they give great video ideas and things to do. So understanding the audience, like again, from 0 subscribers all the way to like 10,000, understanding your audience, what they want, and how you can deliver it, I think is very important. So posting in the community tab, making polls like that is very good at getting data points for how you're going to execute things in the future. I started a podcast on that channel too, to interact directly with the viewers. Now, I didn't do this because I just thought it would be a great way to grow the channel. This was definitely a consideration, but it wasn't like the main goal. I genuinely thought it'd be awesome to chat with the viewers because I can only have a certain perspective on certain things, and getting other people in on the conversation like in-depthly, I thought would have been really awesome. So the podcast was great because I care about my viewers, but this actually showed them that I care because I'm bringing somebody into the channel and on a video for like an hour. This is also good because I got to chat with other YouTubers and content creators, which kind of, I guess, gets my channel's eyeballs elsewhere. One of the main things about this podcast was this is my YouTube channel, but this took this channel to, this is our community having a discussion on a YouTube channel. And I think people really resonate with that. And I think that's a in my opinion, very successful for the channel itself and like the longevity of the community. And again, I'm not trying to seem like I just do things to like solely like for my own personal gain. But when we analyze things a certain way, or how I'm analyzing things like now, it's probably going to come off like that. It is what it is, but I do love my viewers, and the content I create in this podcast really kind of put it together in like a really wonderful way. So I guess for you, the viewer watching this video, you need to find something, some way. It doesn't have to be a podcast with your viewers, but engage with the community, really build it and strengthen it. And I guess that's the key word, is strengthen it. It will likely build itself if you give it the fuel. And sometimes giving it the fuel is just giving the individual people within the community more to work with, or more incentive to maybe talk to other people, or just get more passionate about your topic. Another thing I was doing from 1,000 to 10,000 was really focusing on the content that was doing well and how I delivered it. So at that point, like 5,000 subscribers or so, you have a lot of data on the videos, the thumbnails, the titles, what viewers, how long people watch all these videos. And a lot of the times too, I was doing certain things where I was, again, making certain thumbnails and being like, is this one good? How did this do? How did that do? Obviously I don't have like all the like super intense analysis on everything, but kind of just getting a feel for the audience and the title thumbnail combination and how people were reacting to it. When you have a lot of data points, it's kind of obvious on some things that did well, because the videos, they just do well. They get high click-through rates, people watch them. And then when things don't do well, you're like, okay, what happened there? And sometimes just the video itself just wasn't meant to be that good. But understanding kind of why it did well or didn't do well is important, because you're going to implement that or not implement it in the following videos. So kind of, again, iterating the process, slowly improving through each video. But again, from 1,000, 10,000, I had a huge data set of videos, and looking back being like, let's do this again. Let's market it in this type of manner was pretty important. So I think 1,000, 10,000, probably the most important thing here is you have data on probably what did well. Continue to do that, but in maybe a slightly new way. But understand what does well, why it did well, what did bad, and why it didn't do well. And then continually do that in the future. And also find a way to community build, make that community stronger, and make yourself, I guess, more everlasting on the platform, and separate yourself a little bit from the others. Growing a channel from 0 to 10,000, I'd say there isn't like a step-by-step process. How I grew this Pokemon channel and how I grew some other channels from 0 to 1,000 subscribers, that first initial block of people enjoying your content, the way that I have did that, and again, it's not the only way, it's just how I did it, and it just somehow worked, is to make very specific niche content dedicated to a specific individual. And you may think this is too niche, but YouTube is a massive platform, and you only need a sliver of a part of a niche to build a community. One of the things that separated my YouTube channel, or my Pokemon YouTube channel, from other Pokemon channels is how I presented the content, how the energy level that I presented the content, as well as how I showed how passionate I was about the topic, but also how I brought in the nostalgic aspects of Pokemon. I think that package in itself people found memorable and relatable too, and that is why they stuck around. You need to understand how you're niching down, what your audience wants, and what you want as a content creator, because ultimately how you present your videos depends on the type of viewer that you attract. Nailing down the first 15 seconds of your video along with the title and thumbnail combination is equally important, because everything after doesn't really matter unless you get that right. YouTube has really changed my life in a lot of ways. I've been doing this for a while, and only recently have I seen, I guess, some level of success on how I define it. If you're a YouTuber, or you want to be a YouTuber, and you're watching this video, I really hope that some of the things that I mentioned in this video improves like your content creation, I guess, goals or processes. If you're interested in hearing more in depth on my YouTube journey and how I kind of got to where I am today, again, I'm not super successful, but I think I'm doing all right. I'll leave a link to like my full story right here. But also, if you're interested in growing your own YouTube channel and want to understand how somebody actually does it, this channel is dedicated to how I do things, which may not be the most optimal, but I've gotten, I think, pretty good at managing my time and making YouTube like a fun hobby. So definitely check out these videos if you want to learn more.